Picture this scenario. Tensions in the South China Sea explode, and the first shots are exchanged between American and Chinese forces. Suddenly, a Chinese drone mothership lifts off, unleashing a massive swarm of deadly unmanned vehicles that streak toward a U.S. military base on the first island chain. Air raid sirens wail across the base, and American air defense crews rush into action. But rather than the sky filling with anti-drone missiles and gunfire, the base launches just a small number of its own drones. The response seems completely inadequate. How could so few drones possibly stand against a massive approaching swarm? Yet as the American drones close in, the Chinese drones begin tumbling out of the sky, disabled and totally useless. Chinese commanders watch in stunned disbelief as their entire swarm is wiped out. Then U.S. guided missiles begin tearing through the air toward their hastily retreating mothership. It sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster. But this is completely real. America has successfully tested and is now deploying a revolutionary anti-drone system that can literally knock enemy drones right out of the sky without firing a single shot or even physically touching them. This is the Coyote Block 3NK. Let's break down this futuristic weapon and explore how it could prove decisive in any future conflict involving the U.S., China, Russia, or Iran. Video footage released from U.S. Army test at the Yuma Proving Ground in Arizona in early 2026 shows the Coyote Block 3K, where K stands for non-kinetic, taking down a swarm of drones mid-flight. These tests, conducted under the Low, Slow, Small Unmanned Aircraft Integrated Defeat System program, also known as LIDS, were designed to confirm the latest Coyote variant's effectiveness against intense drone saturation attacks. Around 10 drones approached from multiple directions simultaneously, pushing the supporting CUPS radio frequency sensor to its limits, and testing the Coyote's ability to lock on, process decisions, and engage targets. Based on footage released by its manufacturer Raytheon, the tests were a massive success. In the video, the incoming drones simply drop from the sky the moment the Coyote draws near. Not a single one escapes. And here is the best part. Once its mission is finished, the Coyote is guided into a large recovery net where it can be retrieved completely intact and reused for the next mission. These results suggest that the Coyote Block 3NK drones are very likely ready for full deployment if they have not been fielded already. This brings to completion a development process that began in earnest about 5 years ago. In February 2021, the U.S. Defense Department, which President Donald Trump had recently renamed the Department of War, announced a $33 million contract awarded to Raytheon. The objective was to develop a Coyote Block 3 autonomous strike capability supporting the Navy's Future Advanced Strike, or FAST initiative. This included work to achieve operational launch capability from unmanned surface vessels and unmanned underwater vessels with an expected completion date of February 2024. Significant progress was clearly made because in April 2022, the Defense Department announced a $10 million modification to that original contract. This modification focused specifically on designing, building, and integrating the Coyote Block 3 launch tube assembly into an unmanned vessel. The contract also required Raytheon to procure and deliver the air systems needed for the unmanned vessel demonstration and to provide comprehensive systems engineering, integration, and testing support. This scope also covered high-volume, long-range precision strike capabilities from unmanned surface vessels and fire support platforms. Raytheon was additionally tasked with providing field support personnel, test readiness, safety coordination, program management, and optional integration of government-furnished equipment for forward payloads and tests. All of this was expected to be completed by the end of November 2023. Then in May 2023, Raytheon received another cost-plus fixed-fee contract worth up to $147 million to complete these modifications, with the work now scheduled for completion by Christmas Day 2024. Now, the Coyotes shown in footage from the latest tests were fired from ground-based launchers, and we will get into those shortly. So it is not yet confirmed whether they have been tested or deployed on Navy unmanned vessels, but the timing of this latest successful test carries significant weight, not just for its military implications, but also for Donald Trump and the shareholders of RTX Corporation, Raytheon's parent company. In January 2026, Trump issued an executive order threatening to restrict dividends and stock buybacks of U.S. defense contractors unless they improved their delivery performance. The Pentagon subsequently announced sweeping performance reviews of its contractors, with RTX Corporation named as one of the primary companies under scrutiny, alongside other major defense firms like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. RTX Corporation is therefore under pressure to ramp up weapons production while continuing to deliver strong returns to investors, returns that have been extraordinarily profitable in recent years. The RTX share price may have dipped by nearly 1% in the weeks following Trump's announcement, but it still sits more than 60% above where it was a year ago and an astonishing 175% higher than 5 years ago. Successfully delivering the Coyote Block 3NK, even if these tests arrive more than a year past the original deadline, should go a long way toward offsetting Raytheon's other recent high-profile delays with the AGM-154C Joint Standoff Weapon glide bombs and SM-6 missiles. And that should keep both Trump and investors satisfied, especially when you consider the enormous military potential involved. That is because right now the Coyote Block 3 is a genuinely one-of-a-kind weapon with capabilities and applications that set it apart from everything else in its category. And spotlighting the most significant and fascinating new weapon systems is exactly what we do here at the Military Show, alongside sharp reporting and analysis of the latest developments across every major global flashpoint. So make sure you subscribe to the channel for the real story on what is happening in world military affairs. As the name suggests, the Coyote Block 3 is the third generation of the Coyote platform. Both earlier versions, Block 1 and Block 2, are already operational with the U.S. military, which speaks volumes about how highly regarded this platform has become. The original Block 1 was developed in response to a 2004 U.S. Navy Office of Naval Research specification for a sonobuoy-launched unmanned aerial vehicle, or SLUAV. It was designed to be a disposable vehicle stored in and fired from a standard airborne sonobuoy dispenser, with its primary role being to give P-3C Orion patrol aircraft standoff surveillance capability. Advanced Ceramics Research Incorporated, which was later acquired by Raytheon, won the contract and delivered the Coyote with its first flight in 2007. The Coyote is packed inside a canister that can be launched either from ships equipped with standard sonobuoy dispensers or from the ground using a pneumatic tube launcher. Once ejected, a parachute deploys to pull the canister away from the aircraft. The drone's two pairs of wings, twin vertical tails, and propeller blades then extend outward. A small electric motor fires up and the autopilot initiates a pull-up maneuver. The Coyote also carries a GPS-based navigation system for fully autonomous missions, but it can equally be operated through a line of sight data link. While its original and still primary function is intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, it can also be fitted with a kinetic warhead and converted into a loitering munition. Furthermore, Raytheon has successfully demonstrated the Coyote's swarming capability as part of DARPA's low-cost UAV swarming technology program, known as Locust, where multiple drones operate together autonomously as a coordinated team. This capability carries over to both the Block 2 and Block 3 variants. As a side note, whoever inside the U.S. Navy, and particularly the Office of Naval Research, comes up with the names for these programs deserves far more recognition. Locust as a label for a drone swarm, where the acronym fits the word so perfectly, is outstanding work by whoever runs the designation department. But setting that aside, while the Coyote's swarming ability made it a strong candidate for the Locust program, its relatively modest speed put it at a disadvantage, especially when rapid interception of fast-moving enemy drones is required. With a length of 3 feet, a wingspan of just under 5 feet, and a weight of 13 pounds without a warhead, it is a practical size for a canister-launched UAV. Its 30,000-foot service ceiling and 80-mile data link range make it genuinely effective for ISR across a wide area. However, its maximum speed of 80 knots and cruising speed of 63 knots are simply not fast enough to effectively pursue something like a Russian Buran drone. Even so, the Coyote Block 1, or more specifically the upgraded Block 1B, became a central component of the U.S. Army's Howler counter-unmanned aerial system, operational since 2019. The Army purchased thousands of them for use in its Mobile Low, Slow, Small Unmanned Aircraft Integrated Defeat System, or LIDS, and Fixed Site LIDS, known as SLIDS. The U.S. Marine Corps also began operating the Block 1B as part of its Ground-Based Air Defense, or GBAD, counter-UAV system in 2018. In the meantime, drawing heavily on lessons learned from the war in Ukraine, Raytheon developed a jet-powered evolution called the Coyote Block 2. Unlike the original, which serves ISR missions and has a loitering munition variant, Block 2 functions as an interceptor drone, essentially an anti-drone surface-to-air guided missile. It uses a rocket-assisted launch and is powered in flight by a compact turbojet engine. Rather than fold-out wings, it uses strakes along the body and 4 deployable fins for lift and maneuverability. Its tungsten fragmentation warhead is purpose-built to defeat small drones, which it can engage at ranges of up to 9 miles, with a re-attack capability if the target dodges the initial pass. With a speed of 345 miles per hour, it is fast enough to run down most large incoming drones. As a result, the U.S. Army has upgraded its lids and slid systems to operate Block 2 and Block 3 Coyotes. In December 2023, the Army announced plans to procure 6,000 Block 2s and 700 Block 3s, along with 252 fixed launchers, 52 mobile launchers, 118 fixed CUPS radars, and 33 mobile radars. Raytheon was also contracted to provide maintenance and repair support for at least 15 Coyote systems, both domestically and at undisclosed forward-deployed locations around the world. The current LIDS configuration consists of a 4x4 medium tactical vehicle fitted with a turret armed with a 2-round Coyote launcher alongside a 30mm XM914 automatic cannon. The turret integrates electro-optical sensors for spotting and tracking incoming drones, along with a mast-mounted CUPS radar to cue the Coyotes. The complete LID system also includes a second tactical vehicle equipped with additional sensors and electronic warfare capabilities. SLIDS, on the other hand, is a 2-pallet system where the first pallet holds a 4-round Coyote launcher and a sensor array, and the second contains a CUPS radar. The CUPS radio frequency system radar is larger and more capable than the CUPS 720 radar used in the LIDS configuration. While both share common software and architecture, the C720 quadrant arrays are a quarter the size of the CUPS arrays, providing a scaled-down radar solution suited to mobile requirements. Beyond these primarily ground-based Army applications, the Block 2's original naval anti-drone mission remains active. In March 2025, the U.S. Navy announced its intent to equip select Arleigh Burke-class destroyers with the Coyote Block 2 alongside Anduril's Roadrunner M, another highly promising interceptor drone. This would give those ships a far more cost-efficient option against low and medium-performance attack drones compared to full-size surface-to-air missiles. Block 2s are estimated to cost around $100,000 each, a fraction of what the Navy pays for its surface-to-air missiles. For comparison, as of 2020, the Navy's SM-3 Block 2IA cost in excess of $36 million per round, with the Block IB version running nearly $12 million. The SM-6 costs $4.3 million. SM-2s run between $120,000 and $2.3 million, depending on the variant. The Evolved Sea Sparrow missile, or ESSM, costs roughly $1.8 million. Even the most affordable option in the Navy's arsenal, the Rolling Airframe Missile, or RAM, comes in at around $95,000. While the exact price of the Coyote Block 3 remains undisclosed, that $100,000 price tag makes Block 2s substantially more cost-effective than missiles when facing Iranian Shahed-136 drones and their Russian derivative, the Garand 2, which cost anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000 each. The newer jet-powered Garand 3E runs between $100,000 and $150,000, making the Coyote a roughly equivalent countermeasure in terms of unit cost. However, there remains a meaningful price gap when dealing with China's range of loitering munitions. The Delta Wing gasoline-powered Feilong 300D costs only around $10,000 per unit, while the Shenzhen Skywing, essentially a clone of the U.S. Switchblade 600, runs about $13,000 per unit, excluding the warhead and ground control system. The more advanced Smart EO-guided Sunflower 200 is likely pricier given its sophisticated guidance system, but still costs well under $100,000. While a successful Coyote Block 2 intercept prevents the damage such a drone would cause on impact, there is still a 5 to 10 times cost imbalance between the interceptor and its target. And that is precisely where the Block 3NK could change everything, particularly against drone swarms launched from the drone motherships mentioned earlier or from China's vehicle-mounted swarm launchers. Most of the technical specifications remain classified, but from available footage, it is clear that the Block 3NK shares the wing layout of the original Block 1 but is launched with rocket boosters and appears somewhat larger than the first-generation model. Most intriguingly, Raytheon has not revealed the non-kinetic method by which the Block 3 sends enemy drones spinning helplessly to the ground or sea. This has sparked considerable debate over whether it uses a high-power microwave or HPM warhead or an electronic warfare system to disable its targets. The former works by firing a focused burst of electromagnetic energy that sends a surge of high-voltage current through the target's circuitry, similar in effect to a taser, frying the electronics so instantaneously that the drone simply drops from the sky. The latter works by jamming or spoofing the drone's control signals. What is clear from the latest test footage is that the drones fall without any visible collision, blast flash, or fragmentation pattern. That signature is entirely consistent with electromagnetic or electronic defeat rather than a proximity-fused warhead, which would otherwise be the most logical alternative explanation. The Block 3 offers two enormously compelling advantages as an anti-swarm countermeasure. First, its capacity to bring down multiple drones in a single engagement completely rewrites the cost-effectiveness equation. It could even flip that equation in scenarios where downed drones might land on populated areas, critical infrastructure, or friendly positions. The fact that disabled drones do not explode on impact should also help reduce collateral damage. As Ukraine has demonstrated repeatedly, debris from downed drones can be just as destructive as a direct hit. Second, and critically, it can be recovered and reused. From a battlefield commander's standpoint, a recoverable, non-kinetic interceptor fundamentally changes how a defended unit manages its engagement tempo. Rather than expending one missile per drone until the magazine runs dry, a loitering interceptor can be positioned along expected approach corridors, cued by radar, tasked to neutralize multiple threats, and then brought back for a fast turnaround. Raytheon has also highlighted recent upgrades that boost launch speed, engagement range, and high-altitude performance across the entire Coyote family to keep pace with heavier drones carrying larger payloads on longer mission profiles. The company has also claimed a 50% reduction in recovery to return to flight timelines for the 3NK. If that holds up in real field conditions, it would translate directly into a higher sustained defensive tempo during back-to-back attack waves. Beyond interception, the Block 3 can also function as a node within the Forward Area Air Defense Command and Control Network. As mentioned previously, it can operate collaboratively with other Coyotes, which can then autonomously divide up targets and determine the most efficient engagement approach without requiring a human operator in the loop. It can even configure its attack pattern to simultaneously engage multiple incoming targets at once. Add it all together, and the Coyote can loiter on station and conduct intercepts for little more than the cost of fuel and battery servicing, without sacrificing a valuable airframe and sensor package after every engagement. The U.S. Army has clearly recognized this potential even before the latest successful tests. In October 2025, the Department of War announced a contract valued at nearly $5 billion for Coyote interceptors with deliveries scheduled through 2033. At this stage, the Coyote Block 3NK represents a genuinely unique capability. Raytheon's counter-UAS directed energy and high-power microwave platforms are designed to disable drones through electromagnetic pulses that produce a similar effect to the Block 3NK's non-kinetic payload. However, those are fixed or vehicle-mounted systems, not interceptor drones. The U.S. Army's DEM SHORAD, which stands for Directed Energy Maneuver Short-Range Air Defense, also combines laser and HPM technologies to defeat drones without explosive warheads, but it cannot loiter on station the way the Block 3NK can. A growing number of interceptor drones are also being developed in and for Ukraine, but most are either purely kinetic, destroying targets through direct collision, or carry an explosive warhead. Very few have the ability to loiter, and almost none are reusable. Laser-based systems like the UK's Dragonfire hold the promise of defeating drone swarms for as little as $10 per shot, but they too are ground-based, with limited range and altitude coverage compared to the Block 3NK, with America's primary adversaries, China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea, all actively advancing their drone swarm programs. The Coyote Block 3NK could be the ultimate disruptor. A smart, affordable, and reusable solution for neutralizing multiple drones in a single engagement, and then returning to do it all over again. With Anduril's Roadrunner M and other innovative counter-drone systems also appearing to be moving toward large-scale deployment, this is a space we will be watching very closely, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel to stay ahead of the curve.